Let's start with the updated electricity mechanics. In Siege, electricity is primarily used by both Bandit and Cade, Bandit using his shock wires, and Cade using his Artilla Electroclaw. However, the upcoming Siege X update will change everything. While the ability to destroy attacker gadgets remains, electricity will no longer deal damage to attackers. Instead, attackers who would touch electrified surfaces will only be slowed down, and a distinct, high-pitched screaming sound cue will alert defenders to their presence, not dissimilarly to a proximity alarm. This change has massive gameplay ramifications. Bandit and Cade lose their ability to directly deny hard breaches through damage. Bandit tricking, relying on tick damage, is going to be largely, if not entirely, gone. Cade can still deny breaches, but attackers can potentially rush through the electrified area, albeit slowly, to pressure defenders. For defenders, this will shift Bandit and Cade even more towards area denial and away from gadget destruction, with placement becoming even more crucial, focusing on denying hard breaches and slowing pushes. For attackers, Impact EMP operators and Thatcher will become even more vital to clear out these electrified zones and will have an even more positive impact than has already been observed. It's also important to note that with this update, defenders will also be affected by electricity, with it becoming a neutral feature. This will add a new layer of strategy requiring careful gadget placement to avoid hindering your own team by both teams. Let's delve deeper into how this electricity rework will fundamentally change gameplay in Siege. As we've established, Bandit and Cade will no longer deal direct damage with their electrified gadgets. However, the ability to destroy attacker utility remains. This means no more easy breaching charge placements on electrified walls, and no more quick drone scouting through electrified barbed wire. The slowing effect and the new screaming sound cue will become the primary deterrent for interacting with an electrified surface or wall. Defenders will need to rely more on these audio and visual cues to anticipate and react to attackers pushing through electrified zones. This will also be true for the attackers as well, who will have to be much more careful about their proximity to these walls and how they will play around them. This could lead to more intense close quarters engagements as attackers brave the slow movement for a positional advantage. We should see a shift in defensive strategies. Instead of relying on electricity for damage denial and destroying utility, defenders might focus on using electrified areas to funnel attackers into kill zones or buy precious time for rotations and reinforcements. Clever placement will be key. Now I'll discuss which operators will see their stock rise or fall with these changes, starting with the operators that will become better. Thatcher is arguably the biggest win here. His ability to disable multiple electrified gadgets simultaneously becomes even more critical for a successful attack. Clearing those electrified entry points will be paramount. Callie's LV explosive lance gains significant value against Cade. She can now destroy electro cause from a safe distance without risking contact, effectively neutering Cade's area denial. Although she was already able to do this, with this change she will now not only remove the Cade charge, but also remove the slowdown effect for her team. Operators with explosives, like Ashtafia and Flores, will find it easier to breach and enter sites as they can clear electrified gadgets without the fear of taking damage. Operators with strong intel gathering, such as drones, Lion, and Jackal, will be especially valuable for tracking the slowed and noisy defenders moving through electrified areas, providing crucial information for attackers. A number of operators will likely become worse due to this change, though. Bandit will take a significant hit. The removal of damage from his shock wires neuters his primary method of hard breach denial and tricking. The common consensus seems to be that the entire thought process behind this electricity change is to try to make tricking a less fundamental part of the game, particularly in higher ranks in Pro League. While gadget destruction remained, his direct impact on stopping a determined hard breacher will be greatly reduced. Cade will also suffer with his Electroclaws still able to deny breaches and destroy gadgets, but the fact that attackers can now slowly push through electrified hatches makes them less of an absolute barrier. His reliance on being able to deny from a distance is also countered by Kali more effectively. Pulse has been out of meta for a long time, but can still provide strong intel in certain situations, and notably has had synergy in the past with Bandit due to bandit tricking. The ability to predict and punish attackers with immediate electrical damage is gone, and the slowdown effect from that will no longer be able to benefit Pulse and the defending team. Castle may also become worse from this change, and while his barricades can still slow attackers and destroy some utility, but the lack of being able to electrify barbed wire and or the potential for castle barricades to actually work against the defending team could be considerable. Ultimately, this electricity rework will force players on both teams to rethink their strategies and operator picks. We'll likely see a greater emphasis on utility denial for attackers and more creative area denial tactics for defenders. This will hopefully shift the game away from the spray and pray frag meta that we've experienced over the last couple months. Clash has long been a very contentious and largely unpopular operator within Siege, and she is long overdue for a rework. This rework, however, is incredibly considerable compared to previous reworks we've seen, even the most recent Blackbeard rework. She can now place her shield down and only fully extended, not able to move with the shield anymore. She now also has the ability to toggle the zapper on and off instead of holding the zap button, and it can be remotely activated like Fenrir's FNAP mines. When it's first placed down, it's actually very vulnerable. It can only protect you from bullets, it can be destroyed by grenades, or you can simply vault over it like a pre-punched out barricade. It's going to be a bit smaller than a single doorway and won't be able to attach to them. It can be disabled by Thatcher, and when placed down, it can be hacked by Brava, although she has to shoot it from a very specific angle at the back. Picking the shield up during a Brava hack, however, will actually save it, and the zapper is broken instantly after the hack gets completed, unlike Scopos. The shield can only zap when fully extended, and it gets collapsed when on your back or when sprinting or when crouching. Clash is generally relegated to slowing down pushes rather than actively engaging in firefights, and this will hopefully change that. While the exact details are still under wraps, it seems the goal is to make her a more dynamic and impactful operator on the defending team. They are planning to increase her movement speed while the shield is deployed, allowing her to be more aggressive and close the distance on attackers more effectively. Clash will be able to actually chase down attackers and play more aggressively. Another potential change is the addition of a secondary gadget to the shield, potentially giving her more offensive or utility options beyond just the shield's slow and occasional taser. They have been experimenting with a limited range EMP burst, similar to the one experienced by the throwable EMP grenades on attack, or making the shield have a secondary function more similar to a deployable shield. The ramifications for the defense are huge. A more mobile and aggressive Clash could become a formidable frontline defender, able to lock down choke points and disrupt attacker formations with considerable more pressure. Attackers will need to adapt their strategies significantly. Simply trying to outweight a passive Clash might no longer be viable. Coordinated pushes, utilizing operators with explosives or abilities that can bypass or counter shields, such as Zofia or Capitao, will become essential. This will hopefully improve the pick rate of those operators and similar operators that are considerably undervalued in the meta currently. Flanking will also be a crucial tactic against a more mobile Clash. Teams will need to communicate effectively and watch their angles to avoid being caught off guard by her new aggressive pushes. This rework has the potential to inject a whole new level of intensity into defensive setups and force attackers to rethink their entire approach to dealing with a new shield operator on defense.